In the brutal calculus of World War II, German generals didn't just respect George S. Patton, they actively feared him. While other Allied commanders were analyzed and countered, Patton was a force of nature they struggled to contain. From the dust of North Africa to the frozen forests of the Ardennes, German intelligence officers were obsessed with a single, overriding question. Where is Patton, and where will he strike next? This wasn't just battlefield chatter. We have the proof. Captured Wehrmacht intelligence reports, post-war interrogations, and the private papers of Germany's highest-ranking officers all tell the same story. Field Marshal Gerhard von Rundstedt, the commander-in-chief, in the West, minced no words. He called Patton the most dangerous man the Allies had. Erwin Rommel, the legendary Desert Fox, held a similar view after facing Patton's blitzkrieg-style tactics in North Africa. He saw a reflection of his own audacity and aggression, but wielded with the overwhelming industrial might of the United States. What made Patton so terrifying to them? It was his unpredictability and his sheer, relentless speed. German military doctrine was built on the concept of the Schwerpunkte, decisive point of attack. They would identify a weak spot, concentrate their forces, and break through. Patton did the same, but faster and with more ferocity than any other Allied commander. He didn't just follow the textbook. He wrote his own, often on the fly. He moved divisions with the speed of cavalry, consistently outflanking and encircling German units before they even realized they were in danger. Think about the campaign in Sicily. While other Allied forces advanced methodically, Patton's 7th Army raced across the island, capturing Palermo in a stunningly rapid advance that caught the German high command completely off guard. They expected a cautious, set-piece battle. Instead, they got a lightning storm. His actions were so bold, so outside the norm of conventional Allied strategy, that the Germans often believed his movements were feints, only to discover too late that he had already seized his objective and was preparing for the next one. This fear became the Allies' greatest weapon of deception. Leading up to D-Day, the Allies created Operation Fortitude, a massive disinformation campaign to convince the Germans that the main invasion would come at the Pas de Calais, not Normandy. And who did they choose to lead this phantom army, the 1st U.S. Army Group? George Patton. They knew that German intelligence would be watching him. They knew that wherever Patton was, the Germans would believe the main Allied effort would be. They parked him in southeast England, surrounded him with inflatable tanks, fake aircraft, and phony radio traffic. And the Germans bought it hook, line, and sinker. Even after the Normandy landings began, Hitler and his generals kept the powerful 5th Army in reserve at Calais for weeks, waiting for Patton's real invasion. They were so convinced of Patton's central role that they couldn't believe the Allies would launch their primary assault without him leading the charge. This deception, built entirely on the German fear of one man, was critical to the success of D-Day. Then came the Battle of the Bulge, perhaps Patton's finest hour and the ultimate confirmation of German fears, when German forces launched their massive surprise offensive through the Ardennes, creating a huge bulge in the American lines and threatening to split the Allied armies. The Allied command was in crisis. Eisenhower asked Patton how long it would take to disengage his 3rd Army, which was fighting far to the south, pivot 90 degrees, and counterattack the German flank. Most commanders would need days, maybe a week, to plan and execute such a complex maneuver. Patton famously replied, "As soon as you're through with me." He already had a plan. In just 48 hours, in the dead of winter, and through treacherous icy roads. Patton wheeled 3 divisions of the 3rd Army north and slammed into the German southern flank. It was an operational masterpiece that military historians still study today. The German high command was stunned. They had counted on the slow, methodical Allied response they were used to. They did not count on Patton's superhuman speed and decisiveness. His relief of the besieged 101st Airborne at Bastogne effectively broke the back of the German offensive. The testimony of German generals after the war, compiled by historians like Biach and Ledelhart, is incredibly revealing. General der Panzertruppe, Asovon Mantufe, who commanded the 5th Panzer Army in the Bulge, said Patton was a magnificent army commander who specialized in mobile warfare. He recognized that Patton understood armor and speed in a way no other Allied general did. He didn't just command from a distant headquarters. He was often right at the front, pushing his men, personally directing traffic, and inspiring a level of audacity that matched his own. This was another reason the Germans feared him. He was a warrior leader in their own tradition, a stark contrast to many of the more managerial Allied commanders. General Franz Halder, the former chief of the German General Staff, noted Patton's astonishing ability to grasp a situation and act instantly. The Germans prided themselves on their rapid decision-making cycle, but Patton consistently beat them at their own game. His philosophy was simple: a good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan next week. While others sought perfection, Patton sought victory, and he sought it immediately. This created a level of operational tempo that the increasingly depleted and immobile German forces simply could not match. In the final analysis, the German fear of Patton was a rational response to his demonstrated abilities. He was the one Allied general who consistently fought on their terms. War of speed, maneuver, and decisive action, and beat them. He was aggressive, unpredictable, and brilliant. The Germans saw in him the embodiment of the very blitzkrieg tactics they had used to conquer Europe. They built entire defensive strategies around him, diverted critical resources to counter him, and were ultimately deceived by his phantom presence. He lived in their heads, a constant, nagging source of fear and uncertainty. In the pantheon of World War II commanders, George S. Patton stands alone, not just for what he accomplished, but for the unique and profound terror he inspired in his enemies. Thanks for watching. If you found this look into military history fascinating, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the strategies and personalities that shaped the world. Let us know in the comments which historical figure you'd like us to cover next.